Hello, in this video I'm going to walk you through how to get the EX objective clear for the new 3-part boss fight in Nocturnal Sweeping. This is specifically about the challenge to beat the fight in 15 turns or less that gets you the Lunacy reward. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So you'll see here that for my team selection, I've got Ryoshu, Red Eyes and Penitence. I've got Disei Merceau, Disei Honglu, Ncorp Sinclair, Zwei Ishmael, and Wild Hunt Heathcliff, okay? Now, the important thing about this is that I've primarily selected blunt units, right? Blunt unit, blunt unit, blunt unit, blunt unit, and blunt over here. However, I also have Disei Honglu, and I also have Wild Hunt Heathcliff, who has slash skills as well, because the first part of this boss fight, you need to get through Zila, who is weak to slash. Then you end up against Ricardo, who is weak to blunt but resists slash. So if we go all in on blunt, Zila is going to go by slowly. And if we go all in on slash, Ricardo is going to go by slowly. So I've decided to mostly focus on blunt while also keeping some slash units in there. So let's get into the gameplay now and not just the team building. And you can bring other units in. That's just what I decided to bring for this. But you could also try to run like maybe the Blade Lineage Trio for some slash damage. And then throw in something like Red Eyes and Penitence, Ryoshu, and Wild Hunt Heathcliff. You could try to run maybe like a charge team that has blunt units like Multicrack Faust and Multicrack Heathcliff. It just depends on what you want to do, but you need to be thinking about your damage types. And you also want to consider the fact that Ricardo does a lot of blunt damage, so maybe consider bringing units in that resist blunt. Okay, so here we go. We're in the fight now. So the first part, I mean, not a lot to say about turn 1. You're just trying to build up sanity, right? It's not that big of a deal. So I'm just setting up my clashes and getting this stuff going on. You'll see that I decide to evade with Honglu. That's just because there was no way I was going to win that clash, so I just decided not to risk it to evade instead. But just a normal turn 1. Alright. Yeah, I decided not to risk it, and I used Requiem from Heathcliff instead of Memorial Procession, just for the extra clash power. Can do this. I'll speed up this video at parts later, but I just figured I would show you guys the first 2 or 3 turns in full without speeding it up at all. Unfortunately, we lose the clash with Ryoshu, but these things happen. It's not like you need a perfect run to get the EX clear. All you need to do is beat the whole set in 15 or less turns. Some very nice evades from Honglu. That was nice. Okay, turn 2. Now, just the same kind of deal, setting up clashes. One kind of thing to note about the theory of this fight is that there's no reason to hold back on using skills. Normally, kind of in a boss fight, you might consider using skill 1 or skill 2s instead of a skill 3, or using a defense skill because you're trying to save skills to use later, and you're just building up sanity or charge or potency or whatever you're doing. But with this boss fight, since we're on a pretty strict timer, we just want to do as much damage as we can every turn. So there's no reason to hold back because we don't have time to farm ego resources, and we don't have time to farm, you know, other things. Roshu, unfortunately, not win. Again. So unlucky. 2 lost clashes in a row. But you'll see here now that I'll do the discard trick with Disei Honglu. Right? Because since I got him to get 3 insight, now I just have a defense skill slotted in, so he can just be stuck at 3 insight for the rest of the fight, which is awesome. So now he's going to start putting out some serious slash damage starting this turn, which is super nice. Roshi finally gets a flash in. Heathcliff goes in. Get a little unlucky here with Merceau, but it happens. Yeah, Zilu's a deadly enemy. I actually lose 3 clashes this turn. But Honglu's got our back because he's really good. Okay, now she's staggered, so I just dump damage on. So I'll skip ahead a bit right here, because you guys don't need to see the animations for me dogpiling on her being staggered. Okay. Did some damage, and we just keep on going. Now here I have to make a difficult decision about, do I use a defense skill with Sinclair to make sure that he doesn't lose sanity in corrode, or do I take the corrosion anyway just to deal as much damage as I can? And you'll see that ultimately I decide that risking corrosion, or not risking, guaranteeing corrosion is the right thing to do, because every turn matters, and I just need to get as much damage in on Zila ASAP so I can move on to Ricardo. This was actually a mistake. I didn't mean to use Heathcliff's skill 1. That was a misclick. And here he goes. Sinclair is corroding. But it's damage, so that's all you can ask for. Hong Lu comes in, the goat. Okay, and now she's done. So that's phase 1 over. All thanks to just that last second damage burst, we managed to get her to half health. Interestingly, you don't need to get Zilu to stagger, you just need to get her to half health. So even though I never reached that second stagger bar, I still cleared her section of the fight. And now on turn 6, we're on to the little brothers. One thing to note about the little brothers is they're only level 40, so you have a 10 level advantage over these guys. That makes winning clashes super easy, so this is your last opportunity to get sanity on your low SP units before moving on to Ricardo. So set up your clashes wisely to make sure you get that last second sanity gain in. I actually use a skill 3 from Ryoshu here, a Skullbuster, because I'm just trying to kill the little brothers in as few turns as possible so I can get the hell out of here and move on to Ricardo. Finish up these clashes. Thank you, Swai Ishmael. Very cool. And yeah, Sinclair corrodes. I wonder actually, maybe I should have taken Ego off Sinclair entirely. Just done this fight egoless, so he wouldn't corrode. But I didn't think of that at the time. It's actually kind of a disaster. The run almost ends here. I have 2 units that are staggered. Very bad. Very bad. Good. But we get through it, right? Which just shows you don't need a perfect run to get the EX clear. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead here because nothing important happens. Just killing the little brothers. Okay, final turn of the little brothers. I'm just getting the ego resources I want last and getting the sanity up. It's not a big deal. Okay, now we're on Ricardo. So for Ricardo, it's a problem. So Werner won't respawn if you kill him. He'll instead get replaced by a little brother, which is a lot less threatening because the little brothers are only level 40 and not that strong, whereas Werner is super deadly and level 50. But I actually decide not to kill Werner and instead to focus everything on Ricardo, so that way I can make sure he dies in the next 6 turns. So you'll see what I do is I'm just not attacking Werner at all. I'm just letting him hit my tanks like Swai Ishmael and DC Merceau and stuff. And we're just going all in on taking out Ricardo. Yeah, I tried to get a clash here with Ego, but it was just, it was never going to happen. So I just have to take the L. I know it's taking so long, never mind. Let's skip ahead a bit. Okay, here it goes. Ryoshu throwing down that blunt damage to Ricardo, super good unit. Pursuance, another great ego for this since it heals and it does blunt damage, 10 out of 10. Swai Ishmael, just a great unit. Does a lot of damage to Ricardo, just like she always has. I was very disappointed I didn't stagger him right here, but Swai Ishmael rolled heads twice, which was super unlucky considering she's at 45 sanity. But hey, you don't need a perfect run. You don't need a perfect run. She's in defense stance, so she can't get staggered, so I don't care that she's getting dogpiled on. And we just keep on beating Ricardo. I could do one clash with what's his name? Werner, just because he was hitting someone I didn't want him to hit. But other than that, it's all in on just dogpiling Ricardo to get him to stagger before he uses his skill, and then have everyone else keep hitting him. Yeah, I check his stagger threshold just to see how close he is, and he's cooked. Gonna skip ahead a little bit. I was just trying to make up my mind. But there you can see, I go right in on him, Roshi with her first skill, gets him to stagger before he can use no more tests, which is nice. Or, no more tests might be the name of the defense skill. Whatever. This is also a bit of a disaster. I wasn't expecting Warner to do so much damage. But, you know, these things happen. And Ishmael actually dies. But hey, we're just trying to get the achievement. We're not trying to do it pretty. So here I have some options, right? Do I try to fight the little brothers while Ricardo's down, or do I go for Ricardo? And you can guess what I do. This guy needs to die. That's what I do. I do apply chains on him, just so that way he'll be weakened next turn. Here we go, starting the beat down. Thanks to Wild Hunt, Ishmael actually still gets to stay around another turn, gets a skill 3 off, and she's in defense stance. I was super pleased with that. And then we're just throwing down some chains. And there goes Ishmael, and in come we have Don Quixote, who is a mono blunt unit, of course. Here I take a bit of a risky clash against complete and total extermination, but I was worried about Sinclair getting staggered and where do I DC Merceau getting staggered, so I decided to risk it. But other than that, you can guess exactly what I'm gonna do, and we're gonna dogpile Ricardo and ignore the little brothers, because I just need to kill him fast. Although I keep saying killing him, I should apologize for that. I don't mean kill, because this fight ends when you get him down to like 25% health. So that's what I really mean when I say kill. Thankfully we don't need to do Ricardo's full HP bar. There he comes. Yeah, he's a bastard. Thankfully Don Quixote resists blunt damage. Or T-Corp Don Quixote I should say. All up. Some blunt and plus 1 drop on him. There goes DC Merceau. Warner is actually a lot stronger than I gave him credit for, unfortunately. I did not realize what a badass he was. But, you know, you live and you learn, right? And we've got Ricardo on the ropes, so. I'm gonna skip ahead a bit here, because I have to make up my mind of what I'm gonna do. But you can see, again, I just ignore Werner, and it's all in on Ricardo with as much blunt damage as I can pile on. Red Eyes Impenitence Ryoshu is carrying this run because of how she is resistant to blunt damage. The Ring Yi Sang, one of my substitute units, does 20 damage. Awesome. Multi-Crack Faust, some nice blunt damage. Corp Dawn. Werner kills Wong Lu. And the Ring Yi Sang goes rip as well. And I'm actually out of substitute units, which means that Red Eyes Impenitence Ryoshu gets a second skill slot, which I don't mind at all. I'm quite pleased with that. So again, just all in on taking out Ricardo. I screwed up and I didn't line the skills up to hit his defense slot, so I reline it up. Click some Fragile, and there we go. I'll skip through these animations a bit. And yeah, this is counter after that. Get another Skullbuster off. And we won the fight, everyone. We got him down to the last 25% of his health bar. The rest of this is just super flukes. Perfect. So there you have it, people. You don't need to actually kill Ricardo. You don't need to survive a certain amount of turns. All you need to do is just dogpile him as much as you can, even if it means unopposed attacks, even if it means people dying, and you'll get through the fight. Just remember to bring 1 or 2 things that have slash damage, so you can do some damage to the Zilu, but other than that, you'll be good. I hope this video helped you, and good luck out there, manager.